welcome to 5280 Film Room. We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Gideon.
I'm Miles.
And I'm Jordan.
And we're excited today to talk a lot of Rockies as well as a little bit of Broncos and Nuggets. Regarding the Rockies, Jordan and I were super lucky last week. We got to go to 2 games. We watched the Rockies beat the Giants here at home on Tuesday last week on the 3rd, and then flew out to Seattle to see some friends, and it was an absolute blast watching the Rockies annihilate the Mariners on Friday. Going in, I was, didn't have high hopes for the Mariners.
Mariner fans, right?
Kind of. Scott's from Colorado, so he was in his Rockies gear. Laura was in her Mariner shirt, but wore purple socks and black shoes out of respect.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there were probably, I would say almost a quarter of the stadium was in purple. There were a lot of Rockies fans.
Ton of Rockies fans.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it was a great game to get. It was my first time ever being at an away game watching one of my teams, and it was an absolute blast, especially because we dominated. Tony Walters getting 2 triples that game.
Yeah.
It was a blast, and so Rockies have been on a pretty solid upslope ever since the past week or so.
Yeah, they are 7-2 in their last 9 games. So their last 3 series against the Giants, I almost said Seahawks, Mariners, and the Diamondbacks. They've just been dominating, and in those 3 series, they have scored 57 runs, and they've allowed 19 runs. Now, granted, one of those games was...
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now, one of those games, they scored 19 runs, so, that's a third of it right
Whatever,
there.
but that right there is amazing in itself. That was a great game.
But the best part of that stretch is the bullpen ERA is 1.9 in those 9 games.
Ooh.
And that has
Was it an even split across home and away, or how did that...
So we played...
'Cause I know we've had the history of being a lot better on the road, but...
So we went 2-1 on the road, so when we would have been 5-1 at home. So we played the Diamondbacks and the Giants at home.
Gotcha.
And then the Mariners
2 series
on the
away,
road.
2 series at home and one away.
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty solid.
Well, the bullpen has been the biggest weakness for the Rockies, and the fact that they have a 1.9 ERA, that's phenomenal. So hopefully they can keep that going.
It's all about maintaining it.
Exactly.
And if they can make that happen.
I think at our last recording, the Rockies were worse than the NL.
Nearly, yeah. Technically,
As far as ERA goes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
As far as ERA.
Yeah. Bullpen ERA for sure. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about overall ERA.
Been making some good strides towards the better pitching. Maybe it's because John Gray's was out of the dugout in the bullpen for a week or so, right?
And
Maybe. Yeah. Which, he'll be pitching tomorrow because Antonio Sensatella, he has a blister, just like Chad Bettis. So
sucks because he was pitching lights out.
Yeah, he pitched on the 3rd and allowed 1 run. And I don't remember how many innings he pitched, but he was phenomenal. John Gray's going to be starting tomorrow, which I think it's good timing just because it's right before the All-Star break.
Puts him on the spot a little bit.
Well, I think no matter what happens, it's not really going to affect the team because you're going to have a 4-day break no matter what.
That's true.
So if, let's say he pitches really well, he can go into the break feeling really confident. Let's say he pitches awful, he can go into the break,
Think about what you
think
did.
about what do I need to do to get better?
This is why you're not in the All-Star game.
What you've
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
Right.
And he in AAA he had a 3.38 ERA, which is really good. If he can translate that into MLB pitching, then that would be amazing. But when you're pitching in the AAA and you have as much talent as he has, I would expect him to be at like a 2.5 ERA. So his stats in AAA was not as good as I was hoping, but I do think the Rockies are better with John Gray than without him. Even though he's been bad, but most of the time he's really good. It's just he has that 1 inning per game where he's really bad. So,
yeah, but that 1 inning per game is what's losing us
blown
games.
up.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So
It's
if he
usually
comes
always in the
back
middle of the game too.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like, all right, just instead of pitching 6 innings, just have him pitch 4 or 5.
Right.
Yeah. Or as soon as he gets 2 men on base, just get him out of the
Pull
game.
him out. Yeah.
So you know he's gonna screw it up.
Exactly. Gets in his head
Or ride
so
him
much.
if he's keeping people off base.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he's going to pitch well tomorrow, and I'm happy that he's back. I'm a John Gray fan. I really want him to succeed, and I think he's going to be a good starting pitcher for the Rockies in the future. He just needs to get that confidence. And maybe going to AAA helps him build that confidence.
It was just a quick trip.
It was.
I really was not
like a week
expecting
and a
him
half.
back this soon. But, I mean, we need him.
Well, with Chad Bettis being
That's
hurt
what I
and
hate is I feel
Antonio.
like we're painted into a corner, and that's why he's back.
Yeah.
Not because he's
Yeah.
ready, it's because we're shit out of luck. Like, we're out of options.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Because Sensatella and Bettis being hurt, like, we need starting pitchers right now.
Yep.
So we'll see. And he's got the talent, so I'm hoping he can put on a show tomorrow.
So this is our last series before the All-Star break, correct? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sunday will be the last game of the series, and then a 4-day break. The All-Star game is on Tuesday.
And we've got Nolan in. He's the starting third baseman, correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then Charlie and Trevor were voted in by their peers.
Yes.
And then Bud Black is part of the coaching
Mhm.
staff as well.
I don't know what role he's playing, but he's on the team.
Are there any other Rockies involved?
No, Adam Ottavino is not involved.
Kyle
He
Freeland.
should have been.
I
Kyle
feel like
Freeland should have been involved. Yeah, like Kyle Freeland.
Oh, Dinger. He's one of the best mascots in baseball.
Yeah.
Come on.
Do they vote mascots
I
in?
don't think so.
I was like, how did I not know about
That's a
this?
separate event.
Yeah, the mascot game.
Yes. I would watch that.
Yeah, Ottavino, he has
That'd
a
be
1
entertaining
point.
for baseball.
Yes, it would be great. All right, sorry, Jordan.
Or have like a mascot game where the mascots play
Field,
each other.
like softball
Yes,
or wiffle
National
ball,
League
mascot
versus
game.
American League mascots.
How
I'm
good would that
down
be?
for that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Half.
Hey
Cut
MLB,
the
you want to
field
make a
size
bunch
in
of
half.
money?
Yeah.
Or
What
leave it
was
the,
it?
Wiffle balls.
the field size,
Oh yeah,
45 feet.
it's hard to run in those suits.
Yeah.
You want to minimize heat stroke.
That's why it sounds like a great show.
Right. Yeah, just do it on Wednesday. There's no baseball on Wednesday, so just do that. That sounds amazing. But yeah, so Ottavino, he has a 1.69 ERA this year as a reliever. Freeland, 3.11 ERA as a starting pitcher for the Rockies. Neither one of them made the All-Star game. And why?
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
Pitchers from Colorado get absolutely no love or respect.
But hitters from Colorado, they get disrespected because they're hitting at altitude.
Right.
So shouldn't pitchers get more respect if they're pitching at
Yeah, it should be a
altitude?
two-way street.
Yeah, exactly. And
Never-
that's
If
why.
you're gonna, if you're gonna discredit the hitters for high altitude, you can't discredit the pitchers
They should get
because they're
bonus
going up
points.
against those batters.
Exactly. And that's why Larry Walker will never be in the Hall of Fame, and Arenado wasn't even in the top 5 in MVP voting last year because they played Coors Field. What about Kyle Freeland with the 3.11 ERA at Coors Field
At
this year?
altitude. Yeah.
It's like, well, he should get extra credit for that. So I think it's bullshit that neither one of those guys made it, but it is what it is. Well, and plus, in the baseball All-Star game, every team has to have a representative. So
Oh,
no matter,
really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
No matter what,
Yeah,
one
they got a
player.
pretty deep dugout.
Yeah. So the fact that the Rockies have 3, that's pretty good.
Like
Okay.
it's kind of
not like that.
It's not like the NBA or the NFL. Well, I think it's almost kind of like the NFL, but you know, a couple players only play an inning or two,
Right.
Yeah.
and then the backups come in, and then there's more backups that come in later in the
Backups
game.
on backups on
So,
backups.
I mean, I think it is pretty rare for an individual player to play an entire All-Star game, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, position players, they usually play 3 innings. Pitchers,
Okay.
like 1 or 2 innings, typically. Because you want to get everybody a
Get
chance to
everyone
play.
out there.
Yeah. So, I'm happy that the Rockies have 3, but I think they should have had 5.
With the break right around the corner and then the trade deadline coming up shortly after, are there any... I mean, obviously, I think we need to do something, but are there any specific possible trades that could help the Rockies stay on this positive trajectory that they seem to be on currently?
Yeah, I have a trade that probably won't happen, but
Oh, good.
Let's hear it.
right, yeah. It's my bold prediction.
Oh, love it.
It's because I think the Rockies, they need to get pitching help, and I would like to see them get a legit ace and move like a John Gray or a Tyler Anderson to the bullpen to help the bullpen out.
Love that.
So
idea.
not actually trade for a bullpen pitcher, but get a starting pitcher and then move a starting pitcher to the bullpen. So what I would like to see is Jacob deGrom, who's with the Mets. And the Mets have been really bad this year. They are 14 and a half games out of the division.
Ooh.
So they're out of the playoff race.
It's a bit rough.
Yeah. And their pitching is great. Their offense is terrible.
Okay.
So I would like to see the Rockies trade some of their position players for Jacob deGrom. deGrom has a 1.68 ERA. He might be the best pitcher in baseball this year, but his contract ends after this year. So the chances
like a rental.
Renting him.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the chances that he'll be with the Mets at the end of the year is probably minimal because they suck. So I think the Mets would give him up.
What positional players would you think we would want to get rid of, or you would want to see gone in order to make that trade happen?
So DJ LeMahieu for
That's what I was
sure.
thinking.
Just because we have Brendan Rodgers in the minor leagues, and he is rated the sixth best prospect in baseball, and he's a shortstop, but he could easily transition
DJ's
to
just
second base.
So consistent.
I know.
know.
I would miss DJ so
Oh, man.
much.
I love DJ, but
But we
he's
need
not,
a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Like, we need
What
we
do
need
you guys,
help.
I'm gonna throw a curveball out. What do you
Uh-oh.
got? No pun intended.
But I'm ching.
What do you think about getting rid of Cargo?
I'd be okay with that, but I don't know what we would get for him, just because of his age and his production.
I
He's
mean,
not the same
it wouldn't,
Cargo.
like we wouldn't get that pitcher for just a straight 1-for-1, but we could load up a couple assets.
I mean, we might be able to get some prospects.
He's been hot. I mean, he had what six RBIs in the game a couple nights ago.
Yeah, I think he had two home runs and 6 RBIs.
Yeah.
He's had a decent season. It's just he's got an $8 million contract, and he's like 32, 33 years old. So he's definitely an aging player. And the only teams that would trade for him are contenders. Like, they would need that bat. But I feel like we also need that bat. Because I just don't think the return would be that great.
Could
but
it,
Gotcha.
could it be a 1-for-1 trade with DJ? Or would it need
No.
to be packaged? Like, what else would need to be?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about like the best pitcher,
Yeah.
it would,
Right.
It honestly probably a 1-for-1 with our team would be Nolan.
Yeah.
And
That's
even
not-
that,
We're not
that,
getting-
Really?
yeah,
This guy's that good? What's his name again?
Jacob deGrom.
Jacob deGrom.
DeGrom. Is there an
Yeah.
E at the end?
No.
No E. All right.
deGrom.
Yeah, I think we would have to give up DJ, and I'm thinking Ryan McMahon and Raimel Tapia, who are two of our top prospects. But even that, I don't know if that would get us him. Like, we would
Just
have to
for
give
half
I
up.
don't think-
season,
yeah.
too.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's worth it. I mean, if
That's
we
a lot
if we
to
can
give
start
up.
Have to
battling,
have guarantees that he would at least sign like an additional year or 2 years.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Sign it.
Completely.
If
Trade
the
and
team's
extend.
giving up that much,
well,
But
I think we would need to really push for our division in order for a trade like that to happen.
Yeah.
Because it would be something like, all right, we're showing Nolan that we are taking steps to make it further in the playoffs, but we need to push to get to that point.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then if we get that trade, that would be a solid rent for the half of the year, push into the playoffs. See what happens. Maybe we could talk to him about, hey, you want to re-sign with us? If there's no extension upon trade.
I mean, we're only 3 games out of our divisional lead, and if we could get a solid pitcher, like you're saying, Jordan, and move it and John Gray to the bullpen,
Mhm.
we could definitely make a solid push to winning our division,
Absolutely.
going into the playoffs comfortable, and then really having our players be excited to play good baseball,
Yeah.
and not just the monotony of going through the motions week to week.
Exactly.
162 games.
Yeah. and, a trade like that would show Arenado that the Rockies are serious. And
Let's
I think
win right now.
exactly, because
It's
at this
yeah.
point, I would give it less than a 50% chance that Arenado is with the Rockies after next season.
Oof.
Yeah, our lineup is pretty stacked, I mean, we could improve at catcher, but the only catcher that really would be on the market that I would want to get is Jonathan Lucroy. And he was a Rocky last year, and we didn't re-sign him. So that'd be kind of stupid to trade for him
Right,
again.
that would be.
We didn't want to retain you, but now we want you.
Right?
Hey, will you come back, please?
Right?
Speaking of trades, things are still quiet in the land of the Denver Broncos, but I figured we would do another round of trade start cut since it is quiet now in the off season.
I think it's probably good to continue through until we get to some more action.
I think so. It's a great little conversation starter and filler when we're sitting here going, all right, we've got 14 days until training camp starts, and congratulations, everyone. It's been 30 days since mandatory mini camp ended. Not only have there been no arrests, there's been no Bronco drama. There's been nothing crazy in the media. Normally at this time of year, there are at least one or two stories. And it's been a very quiet, peaceful off season, which is
for the Broncos at least.
for the Broncos.
For the
Broncos. Not
Broncos.
around.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I was just thinking.
Really? You think
Yeah.
it was that big of a factor?
Absolutely.
He was the biggest shitster on the team.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
It was
true.
like so much attention was drawn to him and what he was doing because, coaching staff had to keep their eye on him to make sure he's not doing anything stupid. And then, when parents are away, the kids will play. And, the younger guys be doing whatever they want to do. Let's go party, summer break, whatever.
Yeah, I think it might have started right when we got rid of Ward.
That was definitely
That was the
the
start
initial
of the... And then Akeem, and it's like, all right, we're kind of...
We're living
little
in
bit
a
more level-headed.
a peaceful off season
yeah.
Well,
for
now
now.
it's getting
Knock
back
on wood.
to Super Bowl mentality. Like we're not
Yep.
here
Yes.
to just play football and have fun. Like we want to
And
win.
then go party on the...
We want to win.
There's a different energy. You can feel it already. I'm excited. I'm so excited for football to get here. But
Almost
in
there.
the meantime, a little trade start cut. And today, let's talk safeties. So, Gideon, when we're talking safeties between Justin Simmons, Sua Cravens, and Darian Stewart, what would be your assignments for trade start cut with Simmons, Cravens, and Stewart?
Oh,
That's
Start.
it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough
It's
Yeah.
a fun
one.
position.
I think I'm pretty much set that I would trade Justin Simmons. I don't know what we would trade him for, where we would trade him to, but just for clearing out some space for some of these younger guys to have a good opportunity to show what they got. I
Yeah, and
think
he's a good safety.
moving Simmons would give us either some draft picks for the future or maybe even an impact veteran that we can plug and play. But moving on from Justin Simmons, I would definitely start and keep Darian Stewart. He's been a rock
Interesting.
star with us, and
That is interesting.
I think he's good for our team. He just knows the plays, and he knows how to read quarterbacks very well. And I don't know. I
don't think he gets enough credit. He's been a solid part of the defense for a while now. And I've heard a lot of people say that they want to get rid of him just because his salary's too big and he doesn't do enough on the field. But I think he's a great leader, and he was a part of the Super Bowl
team. A lot of
team.
people don't put very much value on leadership when it talks about a quiet leader. Someone who leads the team not in front of the media but in the locker room and might walk younger guys through some questions that they have or fundamentals and things like that, breaking down different schemes.
Well, they're safeties are kind of like the quarterback on defense. They usually
A lot of
see
times,
everything and direct where plays should go.
Yeah, and I mean when your job is let nobody get behind you essentially, and you're swatting balls all day, you also have to keep an eye on what the rest of the offense is doing in order to do your job well. Because if you don't have an eye on everyone, then you're going to lose someone, and that's how they get behind you. So yeah, they kind of are like the quarterback where they got to know what everyone's doing in a play. You know, you're looking at how many
Yeah,
got
overall
stacked
on a
on
play
one
standpoint,
side
yeah.
and things like that. And like when it's a run play as a free safety, you're like, all right, cool, you guys take care of it. Unless everyone doesn't do their job and Le'Veon Bell breaks it for like 45 yards, and then yeah, you gotta step up.
So that leaves Cravens as your cut.
Su'a Cravens would definitely be cut if I was in this position as a coach. He was definitely looking like a solid prospect when he was drafted by the Redskins, but unfortunately after going through a concussion or two, I believe, I don't think that it's necessarily smart for him to continue to play. I think he's definitely got some gas in the tank, and he's a talented player that has a significant amount of talent to apply to a team, but just from a health and physical standpoint, it sounds like the last concussion he had was pretty serious, and he had to be reinstated back into the NFL to be able to continue to play. So just in my own personal opinion, I think it'd probably be better just for him to either dial it back and not be playing linebacker safety hybrid role. Maybe just go straight to safety and play in that, or maybe retire. I don't know.
So,
with all the research that's been done on head injuries in football, I think we're coming to a bittersweet end of the game of football as we know it now. Like, the NFL is going to be around to stay for a while, but rules are constantly changing from year to year, as we've seen, and I think in order to keep the NFL's longevity, they're going to have to make sure that their players are healthy and able to play for a long time as well.
Yeah, like DeMarco Murray announced his retirement, and how much of that went into it as far as his health is concerned.
Well, and running backs are a dime a dozen as well.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's the same thing with safeties. Like, you can pick up a safety left and right. Either it's an oversized cornerback or it's some dude that's really fast and athletic and he makes some plays. But I think on the defensive side, like safeties and then on the offensive side, running backs, they definitely have a hard time making it to a 10-year career.
Mm-hmm.
They're also in a very high impact position. Like, as a running back, you're hitting the line every single play that you're getting the ball. And even if on pass plays, like, you're blocking for the quarterback, you might be blocking Su'a and Ndamukong Suh coming through the middle, or some cornerback coming off the edge.
Yeah,
So
you're in a
know.
collision on almost every play.
And as a strong safety, you're on the other side. You're colliding with those running backs and those short passes.
So all that
Crossing
being
routes.
Cross routes, oh man.
yeah.
Crack blocks, gotta watch out for those.
Yep.
All that being said, to you, Jor, trade start cut. Su'a Cravens, Darian Stewart, Will Parks.
Will Parks.
Cravens, Stewart, Parks.
Those are my choices. Then I would definitely think I would trade Darian Stewart, because I think we would get the most for him out of those three. Someone like the Patriots or the Eagles, or someone who's a contender that needs a safety. Start Su'a Cravens just because he's still so young and he was drafted high and he really hasn't shown himself on the field yet. But he looks like a true safety. Like, he looks like a guy that could be like an Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu, where he's got that speed, but he's also got the size to make the big hits. And cut Will Parks. Just because he's a guy that I really like Will Parks, but if I'm in that situation, he's definitely the worst of the three. So there's really not value in him, and I definitely wouldn't want him to start.
Based on Gideon and Jordan's analysis, I feel like I can guess what you're going to say, Miles. But for you, trade start cut, Darian Stewart, Will Parks, Justin Simmons.
That one's pretty easy. I mean, obviously, I would cut, just piggybacking off of Jordan, cut Will Parks. Definitely start Justin Simmons. He's come on as of late, which is huge. He could definitely be a trade asset, but with him being somewhat younger
I agree.
than Darian Stewart, definitely start him and then trade Stewart. I mean, that he's that veteran, solid guy who just is consistent in that position.
Yep, you could get something good for Stewart.
Yeah, you can definitely get something from him. Especially, I mean, the tough part about the trade on him is his salary.
Right, for
because
sure.
of production. But it'd be interesting to see. I don't know.
And even though Justin Simmons is young and he's pretty fresh, I feel like he's shown some really solid initial leadership qualities that I think will grow and develop the more is put on his shoulders. I'm incredibly intrigued to watch him throughout the season and continue to grow. He's a player that I enjoy watching his journey.
Just to piggyback off my answer, though, I would cut Will Parks, but then sign him to the practice squad.
Oh,
There
Miles
you go.
found a loophole. Week 2, Miles
I
found
don't know. I mean,
a
he's
loophole.
a good.
I think
He's a
you'd
good
have to
special
clear,
teamser.
I think you'd have to clear waivers for that.
I don't think
Good
he
luck.
would clear waivers.
Yeah, I think he would.
I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he
he
would
wouldn't
clear
clear
waivers.
waivers.
I don't
There's-
think you can just cut a player and be like, you're demoted to $60,000 a year.
Yeah, no.
Right.
On a practice
No,
squad.
clear the waivers first. Go through that and then sign. Like not bang bang.
Someone else would
Not like cut him today and then sign him on the practice squad.
Sign him
Monday.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked up Darian Stewart's salary since we've been talking about that a lot, and he's making $7 million a year, which is a lot for
That's on the higher end.
Yeah.
But
For
not terrible.
an above average safety. That's a lot. I thought it was
But
more
he
like
is
5.
an above average safety.
Yeah, he is.
So
I think he's worth the money, but that's more
last
than I
year
thought.
was also an off year for the Broncos as far as
Across the
like
board,
we
yeah.
we were lit up. Especially the
It's
AFC
embarrassing.
West was just I felt like it was like a gladiator
Too much
battle.
hype.
There's a lot of
There's too
hype,
much
and
hype.
then
Right.
everyone like the Chargers were surprisingly really good and consistent, and that was scary because then everyone was
Yeah.
expecting the Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs to be leading the AFC West, and then it was like
Everyone
the Chargers
struggled. Yep.
threw a wrench into everything, and then the entire AFC West is just not good.
Yeah.
So,
There was a lot of hype though, and I feel like it was part of the demise.
I think part of
Mm-hmm.
the not hate, maybe shade. Is that
The shade?
that what the kids
Throwing
saying these days?
shade.
The shade that's getting thrown towards Stewart, I think, comes from the overall production of the Denver Broncos defense in 2017. Not only did
that's
Von
true.
Miller have a bad year, but it was the entire defense.
You can't blame the defense for that.
No.
The offense. I put that mostly on the offense.
Yes.
When the defense is out there all the time, they're going to
It's
get
tiring.
tired, you know?
Yeah.
Especially at safety, running around all the time.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
exactly.
there's a deep pass. Can't get behind me.
When I thought Stewart was fine last year.
He played well.
Yeah, I
He
thought
did.
I thought he was good.
Considering the circumstances, yeah. I mean, he showed up and did his job, you know.
I would like to
think he
see
did
more
what
of a
he could.
playmaker type of player in that position, though.
Some more
We need more
dynamics.
turnovers.
Yeah.
More turnovers.
Somebody that's just going to go in guns a-blazing and just fighting, kicking and screaming.
Well, Justin
Make
Simmons,
some
like
things
he
happen.
seems like a really good free safety.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like he should be a strong safety because he's fast. He's not a very big guy. Like it looks like he.
What about starting him and Cravens? Move
Ooh.
Simmons to the free, get rid of Stewart, start Cravens.
That'd be great.
And Will Parks is
That'd
backing
be
him up.
interesting.
Yeah. Because Will Parks is awesome.
There's always options.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
It'll be fun as training camp gets here. We'll have a
I'm
lot
sure
more to
they'll
talk
play
about.
around with a bunch of different
but
options.
but seeing what they do and kind of how they piece the puzzle pieces together. I've been trying very hard to actively follow the Denver Nuggets, trying to learn, and I have a question.
What's that?
Who is Isaiah Thomas?
IT.
I know we
So-
have him now. I don't know anything about him.
Last night, Thursday night, Isaiah Thomas agreed to a 1-year, $2 million contract with the Nuggets.
Oh, Alyssa, he's a point guard too.
And
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
this man,
Miles knows. Miles knows. We just started the baseline with
this
me.
man is a point
Point
guard.
guard.
He dribbles the ball.
It's almost 5
Good,
5
okay.
nothing.
He's 5'9", I believe.
All right.
He's tiny.
Averaged 29 points 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was.
Whoa.
He was
Oh.
an
He was
MVP
in
finalist.
The argument for MVP.
He sounds like a character
And,
already.
I wouldn't call him a character. Like, he's a pretty stand-up dude.
Character's not bad to me. It's good.
Okay.
Just thinking about it, it's kind of
It
funny
just means you've got like edge. You've had to
I
fight.
mean, he's
You
got
know.
a chip on his
Spunker.
shoulder.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's interesting to think of the NBA rivalries, and he's gone on both teams. I mean, he was on the Celtics, had a brief stint in Cleveland, and then was on the Lakers.
Wow.
And those are, if we're talking rivalries, that's probably one of the biggest NBA rivalries. Boston,
Celtics.
LA.
He gets around.
But I
Anyways.
mean, he's definitely a talented point guard, and he's going to bring a lot to the Nuggets, I believe.
He's got to get better at shooting.
I mean, just like
But he
the
just-
headlines are saying, is like it's low to no risk for the Nuggets and high reward if he does pan out to
Love that.
playing
So it
well.
was what,
'Cause
hip
this
surgery?
Yeah, he had arthroscopic hip surgery.
And his sister passed away last year.
And his sister passed
Like, he was
away.
injured
Oh.
and lost a sibling.
Yeah.
Shit went down.
That's
Right?
heartbreaking.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, he had to take some time off to join his family in mourning, but
He
came
still
back.
played through
I think-
a lot of it, though.
I think he ended up only playing like 18 or 20 games last year because of the hip issue. But a lot of that surfaced after he got traded from the Celtics to the Cavs. And when the Cavs got him, their physicians make him go through physical and they're checking
Right,
him
of
out
course.
and everything. And
Did
then
he
there
have,
was
did he have
some-
off-season surgery and then he had...
No, he
another
opted
surgery?
not to do surgery last year.
Okay.
And then after he got to the Cavs, they wanted some compensation back from the Celtics because they felt like they gave too
Oy.
much. There's a lot of drama with that. But then, yes, like towards the end of the season, he opted to get the surgery. So I think he's about 8 months removed from the surgery. So he's probably close to 100%.
Okay.
As long as he's been going through all the motions that a professional athlete should go through if they want to get back on to the playing field or court as soon as they can. But no, I think this is a good opportunity for Isaiah Thomas to show the league that he's still a relevant point guard and he can be... I don't want to say he's as good as Chris Paul, but he can definitely elevate his game to an all-star to elite level of play.
He's
Nice.
proven that he can be that guy.
Yes, and that would be great for the Nuggets as well because it puts Denver back on the map. We have an exciting player. If he does well, then yeah, people are going to start paying attention because like Miles has said, he's been in these top cities. He started
He's a
in
known
Sacramento,
name.
but then in Boston, that's where he really made a name for himself and then got traded. It was like a one-for-one swap. Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving.
Wow.
Kyrie's one of the best
Yeah.
point guards in the league right now.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a big argument to say that Isaiah Thomas still has a lot to prove, and I think he does have an even bigger chip on his shoulder than he did before, just because he's a little guy, and now it's compounded by the fact that people are like, does he still have it?
Right.
No,
He had a
he's
bad year
always
last
had it.
year.
At
He's
the
going through a
top
lot.
at the top of his game, who would you rank ahead of him at that position? Kyrie, Chris.
I mean, as an overall player, probably still rank Kyrie over Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, no, yeah.
At
CP3.
we're talking like 2016, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or if he were to return
Like,
this season to
him
his
and
to his
CP3
form.
that year was pretty comparable, because Chris Paul was still in LA with the Clippers. So they
No, I'm just
weren't
saying
doing too
style
well.
of like
But
performance and the way they play and how they can impact the team. I'm not talking about what the performance was in 2016, but if he were at the same level of play that he was 2 years ago this season,
Oh. Okay.
now what point guards would be ahead of him? Kyrie and CP3,
I mean, yeah, Kyrie,
obviously.
Chris Paul, Steph Curry, they're all ahead of him. I'd
What
put
about Kemba?
Damian
You think
Lillard
Kemba?
probably ahead of him. No,
Kemba would be below.
If IT comes back this year and is good, I think he'd be a better point guard than Kemba Walker. And
Is
he
Westbrook
would be,
a point guard?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Westbrook's better than Isaiah Thomas as far as what I would project for this upcoming year. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, this was a good pickup by the Nuggets, and
Nice.
after we can kind of move this into the next topic of discussion, but we dumped a whole bunch of cap liability with Darrell Arthur and Kenneth Faried, and so signing Isaiah Thomas for his veterans minimum was an exceptional move, I think.
Like, really well done by the front office, right?
Yeah,
With my limited knowledge of the NBA specifically, even looking at just kind of the bare details of these deals that were happening, on paper, it all looked so smart.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's huge is I think we cleared almost $20 million about $20 million in just salary, but we also saved an additional $23 million or so just from luxury tax.
That's
'Cause
awesome.
That helped drop us below that. I think that's what you were saying the other day, right, kid?
Yeah, we don't have to, or we're
It's
under
about 43,
we're under
44.
the luxury tax threshold right now. Obviously, there's still going to be some moves made. I
For
imagine.
Oh yeah.
But for what's on the books for 2018, the Nuggets are looking really good. We re-signed Jokic, we re-signed Barton, now picked up Isaiah Thomas to come off the bench. And
Give Murray a rest.
also, Mike Malone coached Isaiah Thomas while they were both in Sacramento. So this is a player that is used to this coaching style, and it's a coach that knows Isaiah's playing style as well. So
I love that. I feel
he's
like that
gonna
gives
put
you a
him-
launching pad.
He's going to put
like
him
you
in
come in
positions
ahead of the
to
game.
Mm-hmm.
be successful, and it's also a good opportunity for Jamal Murray as well, for him to lead the team but still learn from a veteran who learned how to play the game of basketball without being an elite athlete like LeBron James or DeMar DeRozan or Russell Westbrook, for that matter. Isaiah Thomas is more like a normal dude, but he's a professional
That's
basketball
awesome.
player.
Well, is he going to come off the bench or is he going to be
Yes.
the starter?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
He's gotta
that
prove
leads
himself,
to my next question.
for sure.
Actually, like, so based on the moves that have been made, where things currently stand, who will be the starting lineup for the Denver Nuggets?
The
That I
three
do
spot's
not know.
definitely questionable, but I think the Nuggets are going to try to run small and run the court this year. That's the offensive strategy that George Karl employed in Denver while he was coaching us. Play good defense, but we're going to run our opponents into the ground. You move the ball, you score points, and get back on defense, but the whole idea is to score points quickly. And if Mike Malone decides to go small, I think it's going to start with Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, and then Will Barton, since we signed him to a new contract. He
Okay.
will start at the 3 over or from Wilson Chandler's
What does it
position.
mean at the 3?
The small forward
Small
position.
forward. Okay.
And then we obviously have Paul Millsap and Nikola Jokic down low. And so I think that's the starting lineup that Mike Malone will go with if he decides to go small and keep these guys conditioned so that we have the best home court advantage that we possibly can.
Okay.
And then when we go away, we can play to the momentum of other teams' home court and take that away from them.
So what do you think of the bench? So, I mean, we know we got IT on the bench, but what about everybody else? Like, how do you think that stacks up to the rest of the NBA?
We're definitely not as deep as some of the higher playoff teams. You look at
Especially in the middle of our lineup, 2, 3, and 4. I think are the biggest questions.
there's definitely like
It'd
I
be
said,
huge
there's still going to
if
be
Porter Jr. can come back and start. That would really help, but that would also throw a monkey wrench in with Barton starting there.
I think Barton would still start and Harris would come off the bench and try to be sixth man of the year kind of thing. Because with
Yep.
Barton coming off the bench the last few years, he was the sixth man. And now with his new contract, I think he really wanted to be a starter, and the Nuggets finally went to his side and was like, all right, like, we'll sign you to this contract, and we'll start you as long as you just stay in Denver, please. Please.
Please don't go. Don't leave.
So I think, if MPJ can get healthy and be able to play, I think he'll be a very valuable asset on our bench, and that can elevate our entire squad to being closer to the level of, say, the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, Utah Jazz are getting to be really good now, so we have to keep up with those teams in order to stay within playoff contention in the West.
Is there any news about MPJ as far as if he's going to play at all?
And MPJ is who we drafted, right? Michael Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
14th overall.
With the back injury.
They haven't announced
Yes.
anything about him yet as far as the injury? As far
I haven't
as you know?
seen anything.
Probably keeping it pretty under wraps.
I would definitely keep it under wraps. I mean, the big thing in the draft was the fact that there was a hip strain that I think held him out of the combine.
Oh.
But it was very minor.
I think he tweeted that, or he had
like
told them it was hip soreness.
Yeah, it wasn't even
it got
misconstrued.
Misconstrued as more of a strain, or
hyperbolized.
Good for us.
So he fell to 14, and we grabbed him up, and I think even if he does take a little more time off than is expected, like, let's get this man healthy, and he can be our next franchise player. And we have Jokic locked in for 5 years. Like,
right.
Gives
the
him
Nuggets. The Nuggets are going to be good.
Get a good
finally
rhythm
for at
going.
least 3 years.
That's exciting.
Hopefully, it doesn't come down to a 82nd game matchup against the Timberwolves for the last playoff spot. Hopefully, we can get
go into overtime.
Like 5 or 6 seed is
stressful.
what my hopeful prediction is for this year.
I don't think.
But in the Western Conference,
it's so hard.
I know.
Well, now with LeBron in LA,
it's
even harder.
Because the Nuggets should get at least 46 wins again, but 46 wins didn't get them in the playoffs last year.
We should get.
They would have been like a 4 seed in the East.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
exactly.
So sad.
There's only been 10 teams that have won 46 games and haven't made the playoffs. The Nuggets are one of them. Yep.
It's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
I have a 2-part question. Is the Summer League important? And if so, how are we doing? I didn't even know the Summer League was a thing until you guys told me about it a couple
I'd say
weeks
it's
ago.
Definitely gained a whole lot of traction.
Really? So do people watch it? Has it got a big following?
Oh yeah, like they sell tickets.
It's
in,
huge.
So it's always in Las
Wow.
Vegas every summer.
Yep.
Oh,
And
okay.
So like if you're in Vegas, let's say you win a couple $100 playing blackjack, and you don't want to keep gambling in the casinos, like go spend your money on a show. And if you're not into shows, maybe let your wife go to the show, and you're going to go to a basketball game. And you get to see some prospective NBA players kind of show off their skills in a smaller arena than a typical NBA.
Is
or
it set up like a
developing 2 to 3 year
bracket?
players.
Yeah, it's not all rookies. There's players that have been in the league or
Okay.
in the G League, and they're trying to elevate their game. And it's a good opportunity for these players to get to the NBA level of athleticism and skill set.
So let's go back a little bit. What is the G League?
So the G League used to be the NBA Developmental League, and then there was an agreement with Gatorade last year. So now it's called the G League for Gatorade.
Of course. I had the
Gotta
same
love
thought.
those
I
sponsors.
was like,
Marketing
the
ploy,
G
yeah.
League.
But no, over the last 5 years, Summer League basketball has gotten increasingly more popular.
That's cool.
And especially with the one and done rule that the NBA has, where high school players have to spend at least 1 year in college or be 19 years old and a year removed from high school.
Well, you were also saying, as far as venue goes, they were playing basically in a high school stadium.
It was pretty close. Yeah, it was at UNLV's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
It's
college
not huge.
court.
Yeah.
And it's not super
That's
big,
fun,
but
though. I would go
they
to
sell
that.
out because tickets are like $30-$40, and you can go there. And I'm sure tickets are a lot more expensive now because
It's grown
gotten
so
more
much.
popular.
That's
But I mean,
cool.
last year it was a big deal because LeBron James showed up and sat courtside during one of Lonzo Ball's summer league games.
Nice.
And
Fancy.
now we're sitting here. LeBron James is on the same team as Lonzo Ball.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Comes full circle.
is it a big deal? Yes and no. As far as the implications for the NBA season, not a big deal. But the implications for individual players
Right.
and their position within the NBA is very important. And
That's awesome.
It's a good opportunity for them to progress their game.
Good stuff. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 4 of 5280 Film Room. You can reach us via email at 5280filmroom@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, also 5280 Film Room. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Peace.
Swangle!
Toodles.